the Yankees were the least analytical team with in-game decisions in the AL East.
Trying to, I guess bring the fans into the dugout, with the commentary constantly about, the front office is pulling the strings and every move seems to be the analytic department telling them what to do and everything's pre-scripted. None of that's true.
Lie, and lie.
Run a guy.
I don't believe any of them. Baboon or Cashman. Baboon or Trashman. Got it. We got a nickname for Cashman. Baboon and the Trashman.
Aaron Baboon and Aaron Judge starring Susan First.
Good evening and welcome to another installment of the New York Minute Sports Show. All aboard the Brian Cashman excuse train. He's got his general manager meeting State of the Union. It's probably going to be filled with cheapskate lines and a shitload of excuses. I'm watching it for the first time with you, so buckle up. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. New York Minute Sports. It's New York Sports for New York Nuts. Let's go to the videotape.
It's New York Minute Sports.
Suck. It's been reported that Hal would like to drop payroll below $300 million. Is that your understanding of where you guys are at?
Yeah, because Hal's a cheapskate, and he also contradicts himself all the time. If you remember back to last year when Juan Soto, they were talking about giving him an extension in the middle of the year, which the New York Yankees never do. Hal came out and said, yeah, we're actually thinking about the idea of giving him an extension. Then a week later, the same Hal Steinbrenner comes out and says, our current financial situation is not sustainable. So which one is it, Hal? Are you guys Disneyland and print money and make billions of dollars a year? Or are you the Dollar General franchise New York Yankees? Do we shop at the dollar store? Do we go into the bargain bin? Is that why we're seeing rookies all over the place on the New York Yankees? And you've never seen more farm system position players come out of our system ever? Because they want to keep payroll down, guys. So they might lie to you and say, yeah, we'll spend, and that's fluid. But guess what? Hal is watching the bottom line.
Greg Joyce, go ahead.
Hey, Brian. Do you view bringing back Cody Bellinger as your top priority this offseason?
Listen, the problem with this is now the Yankees are backed into a corner. And now Cody Bellinger is about 12 teams' priority this year. So, yeah, we're not going to get a hometown discount. He's a Boras client. Also, Cody Bellinger was here for a year, and I will blame myself for this, and maybe Yankee fans, you do too, a little truth time. We really still think guys fall in love with the pinstripes and love being a Yankee, but the tax code in New York State, like Juan Soto, the contract that he just signed, he's only going to clear $375 million from that. I know I said only clear, but when you sign an $800 million contract and you clear $375, that is a major deterrent for free agents and players to come get their big payday in New York, because as soon as you get it, cut it in half.
Hey, Cash, how much is Trent Grisham's decision to accept a qualifying offer factor into bringing back Bellinger? And if you would get both of them, what does that do for Spencer Jones and Dominguez next season?
Well, first things first, obviously we extended the qualifying offer to Grish because we're comfortable doing so. Obviously this is a very thin outfield market. If he turns it down, obviously, that means the market is flush with teams that have the need in the outfield, especially center field areas. He had a hell of a year for us, was one of the big reasons why we had the level of success we did. And we'd be happy if he accepted and came back. If we get a call at some point that he accepts, our conversations with Scott Boras on Bellinger will continue, and we'll see where that takes us. And if he rejects, we'll be talking to both Grisham and Bellinger regardless. And then we'll be, continuing keeping an eye on the guys we have from within stability. So I just don't know how this stuff is going to play out. It just, I guess stay tuned.
All right. So this is why you got your Uncle Eric here at New York Minute, because I've been listening to Brian Cashman bullshit for a very long time. It's my second language. I speak Brian Cashman. So here it is. He just told us that we're getting both guys. We could get none. We could get both. We could get them separately. But what you have to listen to, he does not answer questions head on. He does not answer them directly. So what Brian Cashman is doing is he's shabagava, shabagava, shabagava. Read in between the tea leaves. He just said the Yankees are trying to re-sign both of these guys, Grisham and Bellinger. If one doesn't sign, they'll sign the other. So the Yankees are definitely going for Trent Grisham and Cody Bellinger. Then he just talked about Jason Dominguez playing winter ball, and then he just talked about Spencer Jones already heading down to Tampa to work on his defense. Because the New York Yankees do not promote defense in their farm system. They're too worried about launch angle and exit velocity. So getting down to fundamentals of defense and positional play, the New York Yankees need to put these guys in a microwave, and they better be able to play defense tomorrow, because Brian Cashman just said it. If both guys leave town in a thin market in free agency, in a thin free agency year in center field and in the outfield in general, where are the Yankees going to pivot to? And they're going to have to look into their farm system. So you could have an outfield that looks like Cody Bellinger and Trent Grisham, or you could have one that looks like Jason Dominguez and Spencer Jones and Aaron Judge. Whoa. That's a big news, folks. That's a spicy meatball.
Thanks, Cash.
We'll go back to Chris Kirschner.
During the season, Jazz had expressed an openness of wanting to be a Yankee long term. Have you had any discussions with him and his agent about a long term extension?
Haven't yet. So not sure, how that will play out. Brody Van Wagen and we spoke up as early as today. Jazz certainly came up, and he's been a great addition. He's obviously approaching free agency, which puts some pressure on. Do you make a decision now or do you wait? You've seen, our past, how that's played out to some degree. So I don't have an answer to the question, but clearly with his service time, he's earned the right. He's 1 year away from free agency. He's, one of the best second basemen in the game, an all-star last year. And another one I mentioned earlier, Grisham and Bellinger, and another one that had a big reason for our success. So I guess that remains to be seen, but we have.
Does that sound like he wants Jazz Chisholm back? Does it sound like he wants to give Jazz Chisholm a new contract, or did he sound like he just built up all his stats so he can move them? The Yankees aren't going to re-sign Jazz Chisholm, and I think you know that too. Let me know in the comments below how you feel. Are the Yankees going to re-sign Jazz Chisholm? I say they're not. And I say that they could move away from Jazz Chisholm as soon as this offseason. They could move him in a trade where he's under control for another year and he becomes a free agent, a 1-year rental. But for a guy that just hit 30 home runs and had 30 steals, his stock will never be higher. He won't have that kind of year again. It's an empty calorie Jazz Chisholm. And remember, this guy couldn't even throw to first base at the end of the year. So I think Brian Cashman's worried, but he's not going to speak. And also, listen, he's an all-star. Yes, he's right. He's top 5 second baseman in Major League Baseball, but that's not saying much. Second baseman is a very weak position, and Jazz Chisholm does not make the New York Yankees better, guys. A Caballero that plays every day, I think he could match that. Not with the 30 home runs, but with the athleticism and better defense.
Not had any conversations outside of, he's looking for.
And if they didn't re-sign Aaron Judge and give him an extension, what do you think they're going to do with Jazz? They ain't giving him an extension this year.
Playing next year, he loves playing here, and if we're open, if you want to have a legitimate conversation about value, open to a longer term conversation as well. So, but that's the extent of it.
If you want to have a legitimate conversation about value, listen to that from Brian Cashman about Jazz Chisholm. That's what you need to hear. That's what I'm talking about. I speak Brian Cashman language, is the fact that he just said that about Jazz. He always gives himself an out. I love him, man. He's like a lawyer. I'm going to rewind that real quick. It's subtle, but watch. I'll teach you how to speak Brian Cashman as well. Watch.
Playing next year, he loves playing here, and if we're open, if you want to have a legitimate conversation about value, open to a longer term conversation as well. So
what that says to me is that he's like, if Jazz is real about his ability and what he brings to the New York Yankees, then we can talk value. Then we can talk how much money you're going to dictate. Because I have a feeling Jazz Chisholm is going to be looking for a $200 million contract, and he's out of his mind.
But that's the extent of it.
Whether we like to admit it or not,
I mean, we're very interested in bringing him back. Obviously now that he's a free agent, he's gonna have a lot of choices, because he can do a lot of different things. So he was a terrific addition for us last year. Played a big role in the amount of success we wound up having, and certainly would love to have him come back to us.
What I'm afraid is that Cody Bellinger is going to have a down year next year. He had a career year last year. The year before that on the Cubs, it was so-so. That's why we got him from a deal for the Cubs. So I don't know what kind of guy we're going to get next year. In fact, it seems like both of our outfielders, him and Grisham, are going to take a turn for the worse next year. And Grisham's looking at $22 million. There's rumors about him denying the option. Thank God. My prayers have been answered.
Discussions with us as well as with others, because Scott Boras is out having the conversations as he always would. Remains to be seen, but he certainly we'd be better served if we could retain him. But if not, then we'll have to look at alternatives, ways to fill it, and see where that takes us. But
so the alternative ways would be Kyle Tucker. But the difference between Cody Bellinger and Kyle Tucker's is about $275 million. And also, Kyle Tucker has never been the man on a team. He just went to the Cubs, and the Cubs moved heaven and earth to get him as far as prospects are concerned. And he really had a down year last year. So Kyle Tucker on a down year is going to dictate $400 to $450 million. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think the Yankees should pay that? Because I don't think a guy like Kyle Tucker, the third best player on the Yankees if he joins them, shouldn't be a $400 million guy. What do you think?
It's pretty early in the process, but I said it before and I'll say it again. Of course, we'd like to have him back.
With a number of guys you have starting the season on the IL for the rotation, but possibly be back early in the season. How do you view adjusting the rotation, trying to thread that needle of keeping spots open for those guys, but also making sure you have enough?
Yeah, I mean, we have pitching depth, but it's going to be challenged early. It is challenged early.
So Carlos Rodón, elbow chips, he added in there. Garrett Cole is not going to be healthy enough to start the season. There's no reason to rush Garrett Cole back, especially after the injury he had at the age he is. So they're going to have to go and pick up another arm. I like Lucas Giolito from the Boston Red Sox. He can pitch in the AL East. He was lights out last year. He's a tough right-hander. He's got a little bit of an attitude. I like it, man. And you know what? The Yankees are going to need early help. The Yankees are tied to the Japanese player. The one thing about the Japanese player that I don't like is he looks a little undersized. And he's looking for like 8 years at $175 million before even throwing a pitch in the major leagues. I'm a little weary about that. But the one thing I'm not, his form looks like Tanaka.
It's certainly, we have a stressor on the front end of the rotation, by starting the season, and hopefully that's without any further injuries. So, we have Cole, Rodón, that'll, start late, and once the season starts, they'll be on the IL. So that leaves us with Fried and Hill and Schlittler and Warren, and then, whomever else is coming from our system or we potentially import outside. So there's, hopefully the off days will play a nice role early on when we need a fifth starter, for instance. Hopefully health is blessed early in the rotation as well in the early portion of February, March, and April. But you can't count on that. So of course we'll be.
Let's go in the Wayback Machine. You remember the Yankees started this season with the Marcus Stroman controversy where he's saying, I'm a starter. And they're like, yeah, no, you're not. And then Cookie Carrasco was on the team. And then the Yankees had to go out and wound up getting Yarborough off the scrap heap. And they released Cookie Carrasco and they released Marcus Stroman, who is still on the books for $18.8 million this year. Elmer Rodriguez Cruz. That's a name. Get familiar with it, folks. He's a right-hander out of our farm system. He had 176 strikeouts in 150 innings. He is highly sought after. We got him out of the Red Sox farm system. So this is a guy you need to look into. And we have a plethora of arms. That's why the Luis Heels of the world, the Clark Schmidts of the world, the Will Warrens, all these guys could be packaged up for big time arms. And also the Yankees can go out, like I said, and get a Lucas Giolito.
Exploring, how to protect ourselves so we're not, taking on water early because, our rotation is compromised out of the gate.
And remember, the starting rotation took some bumps in the beginning of the year. We didn't start with Garrett Cole. Then that Dodgers series showed up. The starting rotation started to get a little bit tired. We got lumped up by them. The bullpen got roughed up, so our starting pitching and the bullpen was all out of whack. And as soon as you mess up that calibration with the starting rotation, it's bad news. Max Fried also had a career lights-out year, threw the most innings and pitches of his career. He's injury-prone. Knock on wood. I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy here. I'm just being a realist, and you'll get the real scoop right here. New York Minute Sports. If you're just joining us, we're watching the live Brian Cashman general manager meetings, whatever they're calling it. It's very wordy. The State of the Union of the general manager meetings. That's what they're calling it. Say that 5 times fast.
I certainly can't wait to get those guys back, and Cole and Rodón especially. But yeah, it's an area for us to focus on.
Go to Brendan Cuddy next.
Hey, Cash, thanks for taking the time. Is there a specific reason that Jones is working out at Yankee Stadium? Like, did that come up with you guys for any reason?
No, I mean, there was a request he made to come on in and work out here, and certainly that's what the facilities are for. So like anybody asking, if they're in the Tampa area, they can use our facilities there too. So I can't fill in the blank of why he's been at Yankee Stadium or had been at Yankee Stadium working out, but he was. And so,
Amazon offers hourly employees health care on day one for the whole family.
Mom, come quick!
Go, 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 go! Yeah!
Oh! Should I get Dad a Band-Aid?
It's all good.
And how do you approach
work out here? And certainly that's what the facilities are for. So like anybody asking, if they're in the Tampa area, they can use our facilities there too. So I can't fill in the blank of why he's been at Yankee Stadium or had been at Yankee Stadium working out, but he was. And so it's all good.
And how do you approach rebuilding your bullpen with a bunch of guys gone? And it looks like Bednar would be your closer. Just how do you view your bullpen and going about that?
I have to look back, but did Brian Cashman even mention Luis Heel when he was talking about our starting rotation with Cole and Rodón not starting the year? I don't remember that because I had a few concussions in my life. But if he didn't mention him, that means that he might be the odd man out of the rotation, or he gets moved to the bullpen. Luis Heel looks like that guy Duval we got from San Francisco. And I don't know if they're going to try to convert him into a closer because we need a guy in the bullpen. We need bullpen arms. Last year, it went belly up, and Brian Cashman usually lucks out with a bullpen. But this year, we need another lefty specialist. We need another hard-throwing right-hander. We need about 2 to 3 pieces in the bullpen.
Yeah, I mean, we have Bednar, Duvall, Cruz, Hill, Hedrick, Bird, Efros, just off the top of my head with lot of we got a lot of good young strong arms that are pushing their way up from the system, yet to be determined signed non-roster invites, and certainly yet to be determined potential trades or free agent imports. So we have some quality down there that we need to improve upon, because certainly there's a few guys that left us currently in free agency. We'll talk to them as well, and Devin Williams and Weaver.
He just mentioned Low-Lev Dev's name. Brian Cashman wants Devin Williams. He wants it to work. He wants to make it work. I don't think he's talking about contacting Luke Weaver, which is the guy he should be contacting for $1.2 million. But I'm telling you, something says to me, Brian Cashman is not through with Devin Williams. He's going to make a run at him. I think Devin Williams is through with New York. I don't think he wants to come back. I think the way he was treated, the pressure that he experienced, bro, no way he wants to come back to this fucking place.
Along with other alternative choices in the marketplace, and see where that all takes us. But yeah, there's some spots there that have yet to be filled, and this winter we'll have to figure out how we're going to do that.
Thank you.
We'll go to Dave Lennon next. Dave.
Hey, Cash. Last year at this time, you had a pretty clear strategy. I mean, Soto was a priority for you guys, and when it didn't work out, you had a very aggressive pivot to spend money in his place to improve the team in a number of different areas. How do you approach it this year? I mean, is Bellinger a guy that you...
That pivot wasn't instantaneous, though. That pivot took some time. Max Fried kind of went after the Yankees, not the other way around. And he made himself available to talk with the Yankees. They had a really good meeting, and apparently Max Fried wanted to be a Yankee. That's why he's in pinstripes. But this year, it's not as black and white as it was last year. There isn't like, okay, go get replace Verdugo, replace Rizzo, add a couple. This is a little more murky because you're going to have to package up some guys and trade some guys. They got a lot of arms. Luis Gil, Will Warren, Clark Schmidt. Like, think about it, guys. There is a shitload of arms on this team. Luis Gil, there's a lot of guys that could be packaged up and traded. Jason Dominguez, Spencer Jones, Lombard Jr., all these guys are up for it. And just like I was talking on the Paul Skeens video that I made, all those guys are available for them. So the Yankees have a million different directions that they can go into. And we don't know what Brian Cashman's phone calls are about, what trades that he's talking about, what's been percolating behind the scenes, because I don't think it's going to be easy as go get this free agent, go get this free agent. It's going to be retaining the guys we have and packaging up young guys for proven talent.
You kind of need an answer on before you proceed to improve some other areas, or is this going to be just lateral moves from the start that could be a number of different parts of the team? How do you envision the next weeks and maybe month or so going forward?
Yeah, every winter cycle could be a little different. So you're right. Last year, we put all our chips in on the Soto basket, and we had to wait that one out. And that didn't declare itself, as you remember, until Dallas in the winter meetings. So thankfully, the market, I think, was held up, maybe because of Soto, or maybe things were just moving slow regardless. So we didn't miss too many. We missed some opportunities that came off the.
And just listen to what he said about Juan Soto. Everyone was waiting for the Juan Soto shoe to drop. The same thing might happen with Kyle Tucker. Maybe Cody Bellinger's waiting for Kyle Tucker to get signed and vice versa because they're all Boras clients. Who knows? So Kyle Tucker is the major domino to fall, but I have to admit, I don't want him on the Yankees.
Board before the Soto decision, but a lot of the market opportunities still remained in play. So we kind of had our homework done, ready to jump and move fast if it was workable. And there was no guarantee that some of these things were workable, but over time they trickled through, and we were able to complete some free agent signs and or trades. So probably going to play out slow. Like, I know I'm not there at the GM meetings right now, but typically the way this stuff has evolved, the GM meetings, a lot of teams are still in their human resource department role. The
GM meetings, it's just to get things started. And now with technology, you really don't have to be there. Brian Cashman already has the number for all the guys that he needs to talk to.
Meetings more are about getting the clubs together with the media, and it generates a lot of stories. And but there's not too much things happening in these meetings as of just yet. I'm staying connected, obviously, via phone with our clubs and our opposing agents and stuff. So you gather as much early information, but it seems like what usually plays out is it's going to take some time. And once you start heading into our winter meeting, which happens to be in Orlando, hopefully we'll have a pretty clear definition of what's going on. Well, I think to your question, are we going to hold up waiting on the Bellinger situation or not? It remains to be seen. I got to get some information from Scott Boras about conversations and where that's leading them. And, he on each individual player, it's different. I remember sometime before the winter meetings, but after the GM meetings, he took Blake Snell off the table last year rather quickly. And then Soto went to the winter meeting. So I just think they're all different circumstances, and they just have to stay connected, with the representation and be guided by them about, how the market is handling their player. And in the meantime, it's in our best interest to line up as many possible alternative choices. Thankfully, internally, we have Dominguez, we have Spencer Jones that's earned the right. With some other organizations, he would have been in the big leagues probably.
Guys, let's do some critical thinking here. How do you feel about Spencer Jones? Let me know in the comments below. Don't fall in love with the long ball. He strikes out a zillion times a year. And during that hot streak when he had 13 straight games with a home run last year, I wanted the Yankees to bring him up because they actually needed the outfield help. There's something about this guy. He hits 30 home runs in the minor leagues, and they're not like guaranteed bringing him up next year, and they didn't bring him up last year. I don't know. He's been out of Vanderbilt for 2 years. The guy played in the NCAA at a high level. I just think that he can't play the field, just like a lot of people on the New York Yankees. They can't play defensively, and it's all over the farm system. I don't know who should be blamed. Brian Cashman, yeah, and the guy that runs the farm system.
Already last year, Dominguez would have been playing most every day with maybe some other teams that per se weren't finished off, but we had obviously Grisham, Bellinger, and Judge flying high, so he had to kind of sit it out in the second half. So, we have internal candidates, but certainly we have some time here to tread some water and wait and see.
A lot of people bring up the benching of Jason Dominguez, but no one had on their bingo card Trent Grisham hitting 30 home runs this year and being a godsend for the New York Yankees. So that pushed back the development on Jason Dominguez. I said it on this show in the beginning of the year. I didn't want them playing Trent so much because I thought he was going to come back to earth in the middle of the season. I was worried about the development of Jason Dominguez with Trent Grisham playing so much, not knowing that he was going to have the year he had. But, man, it was worth it. So now Jason Dominguez is still really young. He's 22. He hits from both sides of the plate, hit well from the left side of the plate last year. But you know what? He's going to be trade bait, I really think, for a guy like Quan. You give me Jason Dominguez for Quan right now, I'm in.
Pressure point for us, so I'd probably not be the best. I don't even know if there's any GM right now that have the best idea of what this closer market movement would look like because it's so early. But listen, it's hard to find people to be able to navigate that ninth inning. With 45,000 people going nuts on a night in and night out basis with everything on the line. So it's a very hard job. Only a few people can do. So that's why they get paid, significantly more than anybody else in that capacity of the bullpen. So thankfully we acquired a guy last year we feel comfortable with that he has control going through next year. So it lessens that role for us, but it doesn't, prevent us from dipping our toe in the water to adding to our bullpen. And so we will be touching base with everybody that's out in the marketplace to make sure we know what their costs are. But I have no feel for how fast that could go.
Thank you.
We'll do a few last ones. Chris.
You guys had 3 left-handed hitting catchers this past season. Do you view getting a righty hitting catcher as a priority this offseason?
Only if we like it well enough. But yeah, I mean, you'd like to have the balance if you could have it.
Right-handed catcher, left-handed specialist, another right-handed power arm, right-handed power bat. Those are the major 4 things that the Yankees need, and re-sign everybody.
No doubt about it. And so, but the catching market's very thin. So, but we'll see. We'll certainly.
Also Austin Wells. I know that everyone says he had a down year, and I agree with you. He should have taken a better step than he did, but I think he finished with like 23, 24 home runs. That's a bad year. He could easily add 6 home runs on to the top of that and be a 30 home run catcher. Nowadays in Major League Baseball, a 30 home run catcher is a rarity other than Big Dumper over in Seattle. But like Austin Wells, he gets a bad rap. He calls a good game. He got the shit beat out of him behind the plate this year, which he caught every deflection. It seemed like 2 a game. He'd get hit in the chest, the knee, everywhere. The guy had to be in a tub of ice after every game. So hopefully Austin Wells, but yeah, they need a backup right-handed catcher.
It's a benefit if I can balance out, without a doubt. So, so we'll see if something presents itself here in the marketplace.
There's also been a lot of talk all year about the Blue Jays and their contact rates, their lack of strikeouts. What do you feel like the public is missing when it comes to the whole quantity of contact versus striking out more? Because a lot of times you guys get accused of having high strikeout rates and being too home run reliant.
I don't know.
I don't follow anybody else, bro. That's what Brian Cashman wants to say. I wrote the book on this, mofo. The Blue Jays are chasing me. All right? I am baseball. That's what Brian Cashman wants to yell at him.
But you're probably having a comment section blown up. I'm not playing around in the public sphere. I mean, my focus solely is going to be constantly trying to improve on whoever we have, try to improve their contact quality. That's our hitting coach's job, is to obviously, my job is to make sure our strengths remain our strengths and shore up our areas of weakness. Our specialty coaches with the personnel they provide.
So pretty much Brian Cashman told him, hey, kid, put an egg in your shoe and beat it, all right? So that's Brian Cashman's state of the general manager, state of the Yankees. That's the first taste, guys. This is just getting started. We're in November right now. Things are going to start happening very soon, and just around Christmas, it's going to reach its peak, and I'm going to have you covered right here, wall-to-wall Yankees. You know this is your home for the New York Yankees, because I'm going to tell you the truth. No fluff, no lies, no excuses, just the raw facts. New York Minute Sports, baby. It's New York sports for New York nuts. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and remember, if you can't be good, be bad, baby. Bye.